Hey, welcome back. What's going on? It's Tony Scott, Mark Clark, and Troy Johnson for a Men on Everything episode. Fellas, how you been?
What's up?
Great.
Good. Mark is in New York City, Troy is in Washington, D.C., and I am in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Home of them boys.
When we start doing, every season, we start doing shows that somebody lives in a different place.
That's right. See, next season, Troy will be in Miami. A season after that, Mark, I believe, is going to be at the Vatican, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be kind of an interesting kind of thing.
That will not be the case. You know what? I'm not going to. Let me calm down. I don't want to offend anybody.
Well, we are back with Men on Everything today. We'll have your Men on Empire on Thursday, and we'll have Men on Scandal on Friday. So we're back with all the shows. Finally got it all back together.
Wait a minute,
I'm settled in, man. So
Tony, you said we're going to have Men on Empire?
Oh, I'm sorry, Men on Empire.
And Men on Scandal?
Oh, that would be a great show. Men on Empire would. Yeah. Actually, yes, that's actually true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna try. we're gonna try and do 3 shows a week, man. Gonna try very hard to make it up to you, because I know we disappeared for a while because I was moving and I had to get settled in, and I am doing afternoon drive on KRB in Dallas, and Mark, of course, at nights at Radio 103.9, and of course Troy's the hardest working man because he double and sometimes triple dips at WHUR and at also All News 99.1 WNEW, right? So, yeah, so we're all busy. So lots of things have been going on, man. I mean, I don't know where to start with everything. I know I did a video not too long ago about how Donald Trump will never be president. And, of course, people were like, well, when he wins, Donald Trump will never be president, you know? And Donald Trump knows he won't be president. He's just enjoying the ride. He's enjoying the fame because his ego loves that. He enjoys, you know, being politically incorrect and being able to say things to people, anything he wants to people, and get away with it. But truth be told, he's got too many skeletons. You know, Luther Vandross used to use a gymnasium for his closet, and Donald Trump has to use a gymnasium for all the skeletons that he has for his closet, because it just ain't gonna happen, guys.
Actually, his closet is the old Trump building in Atlantic City.
Yeah. I just can't see him being president, man. I don't know. Maybe another Republican will be president. I know Scott Walker won't. He dropped out, but
you know, Ben Carson won't.
You know, and Ben Carson, that's another thing, man. I mean, a lot of people here in Dallas were saying that, you know, how Ben Carson say he can't see, you know, he'd have a problem with a Muslim being president. And I try to explain to people, look, Ben Carson sold his skin a long time ago. Okay, he's trying to get the GOP nomination, and he's playing up to that. And the GOP are typically scared of anything that doesn't look like them.
Except Ben Carson.
Except Ben Carson.
I think you're right, Tony. I saw an interesting article that kind of speaks to that. This guy who does a lot of research on white supremacy in America was essentially saying, he's talking about Donald Trump, but he's saying he is the new white supremacist. Because you probably heard this terminology. I think even Ben Carson said this, that striking a chord with a core group of people, or it's hitting a vein of a group of people, the suggestion that America is not what it used to be, the suggestion that we have to take America back, those kind of catchphrases allude to something that's a lot more, in this author's opinion, a lot more sinister than just, we're on the wrong track. It's suggesting that the America that we used to have, where people of color were suppressed, where people of color were disenfranchised and didn't have opportunity, that's the real America that they're trying to speak to. Because there are some people out, if you're saying that 30% of Americans believe that President Obama wasn't born in this country in 2015, after all of these documents and things have been shown, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, well, and I think Troy, it focuses on stupid people. I think that's what's. I think
you're right.
The stupid people will believe anything, and they're distracted by anything.
Right.
You know, how do you support Donald Trump, but you hate big government when Donald Trump is big business, which runs big government. So it's just it's the stupid people, you know.
Right.
And then, like, you know, Ben Carson, first of all, he can't be president because you can't have a eyes closed talker as president.
My fellow Americans, I would like to tell you today at the State of the Union today that where are y'all?
And Ben Carson don't even get the suit game right. You can't wear no brown pinstripe suit and be the damn president. A brown pinstripe suit and burgundy tie will earn you not the presidential race. At least Donald Trump is wearing a Donald Trump tie when he's wearing his suit.
Well, yeah. Ben Carson, what he's wearing, he's good for probably Surgeon General, maybe. Maybe because of his background.
Good for Seventh-day Adventist Saturday service. That's what his suit's good for. And Ben Carson is proving to the world that just because somebody's a neurosurgeon doesn't mean that they're necessarily wise. Brilliant. Wise, maybe not.
Well, hey, the assault on black men continues in this country. And people, it's interesting how people, and really what it comes down to, and I've said this over and over again, what people, you know, a lot of people, if you're not in my everyday life, you know, you're not in my circle, you don't look like me, you don't act like me, so you have to be inferior to me. So they have no idea that there is yet another side of life. And I'll be the first, and I've spoken about this before, you know, I was like 14 years old before I realized that not everybody had the same life I had. You know, I had both my parents in the house. We had dinner every night at 5 o'clock. I thought everybody did that until I was 14 years old. And then I was like, where's your dad? My dad don't live here, man. You know, it's like,
Tony, we never really examined that, but what happened at 14? Did you meet Levante? What happened? You went over Levante's house and it was...
Tony was sent on an errand to go to the grocery store, and he made a couple of stops along the way.
That's it right there, man. That's it. I mean, but you know, but you have to open your eyes to that. And people in this country, you know, people always say that the president made race relations worse. And what they fail to realize is, no, the race thing came out because we have a black president. I'll say that.
Yes.
But it was always there.
Yes.
And if you don't acknowledge that, you ain't been paying attention.
Or you're just stupid. It's again the stupid people. The president did not make anything worse. Like you said, Tony, it showed he caused the racists to show their hand.
Yeah, they were so frustrated and angry about him being elected president that they just said, you know what, I'm not hiding anymore. I'm just coming out with it now. And it's like it's always been there.
And I think the like you said to start the conversation, Tony, people don't empathize. Because when you're the privileged class, or even just the dominant class, wherever you are, sometimes you don't know the other perspective. It's just like the soap opera actress who tweeted during Viola Davis's speech at the Emmys, almost like, "Hey, I've never got a chance to get the role she has." Well, first of all, white lady, you suck as an actress. You've never been on any show except the soap opera. So first of all, get your game up.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you look at the damn Emmys, and you're not white, it looks like a sea of rice. It looks like the whitest awards show you've ever seen in your life. But again, if you're not a person of color, you don't see it that way.
No.
And so it's so ridiculous for her to even comment. Keep your mouth shut and let's keep it moving. But the privileged class is just not used to people demonstrating or saying anything, and so. You know, it's just like you said, Tony. I think if you haven't walked in someone else's shoes, or at least smelled their shoes, then you probably don't get it.
Yeah, you don't get it at all.
What's interesting about all of this? I don't know. I know you guys have noticed this. The conversation about race is around every day now. But if we go back 5 years, there would be some, like the key speech that President Obama gave in Philadelphia a few years ago. That was a big moment, and then it kind of went away. But because of all of these things, it just is interesting to me how much more we talk about the impact of race in this country, which, if anything, I'm going to be the optimist today, it's a good thing, because it's not going away. It's going to be dealt with one way or another. That wasn't the case 20 years ago. People were really uncomfortable. Well, people are still uncomfortable about it. But damn it, it's still going to happen.
No, but you know what?
Which I think is a good thing.
I'll say this though, Troy and Mark, that the thing, and young African Americans seem to be like standing up and saying, "Hey, this is a problem. Let's talk." But the problem with that is, in a lot of cases, and this again comes back to not understanding other cultures, is that the passion that some people bring, people of color that bring to the table as far as talking about race, you have to understand their passion. And I saw a video yesterday of a woman, and she was making great points, but she was filled with so much anger. She was cussing and all that stuff. And see, people, when you start doing that, people shut down, because people want to have a discussion, but people don't want to be lectured to.
Right.
People don't want to be yelled at. People will have a conversation and might hear you, but when you start yelling and cursing, and I understand the passion, I understand the frustration, I get all that. But when you look at it from the other side, it's like, why am I letting this person yell at me? Why am I letting this person curse at me? I don't have to take this. This conversation's going nowhere. And it's kind of like, until we get a grasp on that and make the conversation more civil, I think we're going to keep spinning our wheels, in the mud, because people don't want to hear. They don't want to get yelled at. Right. We don't want to get. We know you're angry.
And I think, like you said, Tony, my father-in-law, Unity minister, will say that, basically he'll say that discussions don't have any merit. And as I get older, I understand what he's saying, because like you said, Tony, here's the problem. When most of the time people are communicating at that level, it's so much hurt, years of hurt, centuries of hurt, that, like last night, the sister that plays Crazy Eyes, I can't think of her name. Her last name is, I think, Uzu Abuda, I believe her name is. So she did, like you said, Tony, instead of expressing in a way of frustration, she expressed passion and love for the opportunity to be in a production that allowed her to showcase her acting ability, right? And in doing that, it touched the chord of anybody watching that, and then shouting out her sister could feel the emotion and feel not threatened. You know what I mean? But on the flip side, the frustration, like my daughters go to a predominantly white school, and, I've got 3 daughters. And so one, last year in Aladdin, in our audition, they said, "Oh my God, you have a beautiful voice, such a powerful voice." She didn't get a singing part because they said her voice was too powerful. And then this year, my daughter, so that's her 8th grade year. So she was a part of the, not a role. Then my other daughter, now it's her 8th grade year. Same thing. Oh, beautiful voice, too powerful. So now my daughters are 25 years old and in Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And their whole life, they've been in this system, this ridiculous system, because you see the plays and the kids who get the parts suck.
Yeah.
But because they are who they are, they get the parts. And that, like you say, it could come out emotional and touching, or it could come out, damn it, this is some BS. And I think that's kind of where we are. So like you said, Tony, unfortunately, it's like you, Tony. You remember when you went through your phase, you wanted people to know, look, I'm not black, I'm Hispanic, okay?
Right.
And damn it, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I can be Hispanic. I don't have to be black,
Right.
And so then as you got older and you went through that, after you kind of learned, you were like, you know what? This is kind of my issue.
Yeah.
And I have every right for people to know who I am. And I do, but there's a way I have to do it that makes more sense, because if I do it another way, nobody's listening to me.
Right.
And so, but it's I guess the frustration, I'm sorry I'm going so long. At the end of the day, the frustration is it's messed up that the person who is oppressed or who is the one who's the victim has to pacify the person with the foot on their neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of jacked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least,
and I think that's the part that. So, back to my father-in-law. So, unless the general people have a better understanding, you almost get in the same loop of, does the discussion make it better, Troy? I hope it does, but I don't know. I think some people don't listen. Barack Obama, the most brilliant.
You're going to learn today. The revolution will not be televised.
Well, I think that's the other part, Troy. This generation will fight.
Yeah. If you don't like the presentation, it's too powerful for you. Okay, fine. You're going to learn today.
Yeah. But the interesting thing though is and it just seems like to me, and maybe because I was in the area when it happened, but it just seems like the murder of Michael Brown by that cop really was a defining moment for a lot of young African Americans in this country, and they have become more socially aware of things, and social media has played a huge part in that. But the other part of that is that the Black Lives Matter movement, which is long overdue, but to some degree it won't be taken seriously until there's a better organizational path for them to take, because it seems like they're, and the thing is that, you have to look at things for what they are. And, not every African American male who was shot and killed by a cop was murdered by a cop. There are some who it happened. It wasn't an accident. It was justifiable. Not in every case, and I won't even say not in most cases, but in a few, it happens. And the same thing happens with Latinos and Asians. It just, there are always going to be, my point is, there are bad people in every culture. Mm-hmm. They're just bad people in every culture. The problem is, it seems like only African Americans are pointed out as being bad. We don't point out white folks when they're bad or any other. It just seems like every time, even when they say, crime statistics are out today, they do this on the news, and crime is up, and then they go to the B-roll, and it's always like a black guy. It's always a black guy, and it's like, and that ingrains in people's minds that, wow, black guy crime, and it needs to stop.
Absolutely.
I think that's the point that gets lost on Black Lives Matter. At the end of the day, it's really, and like you said, Tony, maybe a lot of it's a presentation, what people see. What it really is just saying specifically to law is, look, my son or this kid, just because he's a black male, please treat him with respect, the respect that everybody should get. So Black Lives Matter, if you took Black Lives Matter, take that phrase away, it really is just saying we want the respect that everybody should receive.
Absolutely.
That's what Black Lives Matters is really about. But people get lost on, and it's specifically saying it to law enforcement. But I think even black folks get confused. They say, well, everybody's lives matter. What about black on black crime? We're not talking about black on black crime. I'm talking about a system which, like you said, with Michael Brown, these different killings, you see the system. He was resisting arrest. He was resisting arrest. I feared for my life. I had to kill him. We've seen these instances where, I know you just saw the guy who was jaywalking. 14-year-old kid was jaywalking.
How many cops took him down? 9 cops took him down or something like that?
And I think what happens with that kid, because he looked like a 14-year-old, and because he looked like a young man, because he was crying, I think the average person that's color felt something. Like this isn't right. This little kid, he's a kid, and even his situation. We get stopped jaywalking to catch a bus, and the cop says, "Okay, quit resisting or whatever." You probably don't even know what the hell's going on. Like, is jaywalking a real crime? I'm trying to catch the bus. I'll get in trouble if I'm not on the bus. So then, if you saw the video with him, hit him in the face with the baton, it's like, what's going on? Have we ever seen a white kid treated that way? Never. Not to say it never happens, but we just don't ever see it.
We don't ever see it.
And I think if it did happen, the outrage would be crazy. But the problem is we never see it.
Right.
So if we only see black kids treated that way, then there's the belief that only black kids are treated that way, And I think some people, though, the sad part is some people feel that black people should be treated that way because they're dangerous and because they're criminals. And that's where the Black Lives Matter.
I saw something on social media the other day. It says, dark skin is not a crime.
Yeah,
I thought that was profound. I was like, man, that just says it all for all people of color. Dark skin is not a crime.
No crime in that at all. You're right.
None. So, hey, I was speaking to cops. I saw this article about this police officer on his deathbed in L.A., and he says that he was part of a group of people who set up Tupac's death, and that Tupac is still alive. And I was like, wow, I thought that was over. That's not over? That's still a thing? Is that still a thing?
On his deathbed?
This cop said on deathbed that he was part of some covert thing that created Tupac's death, but he faked it. It was Tupac is still alive. Man. And I was like, wow.
Come on. Come on.
Didn't we see, Mark, when you and I worked together, didn't we see Tupac's autopsy photo and you said it was Tupac in a bucket? Remember that?
Well,
based on the photograph, Tupac ain't alive, man. When your thorax has been sliced open, eating lunch right now.
Yeah.
So Troy, do you think was he playing? Was the guy playing on his deathbed? You wild.
Right. Oh, he's dead. Man, come on. I ain't buying that. I'm not buying that. Come on, man.
I mean, why would, first of all, let's go with this for a second. Why would Tupac fake his death?
Right.
There are two people that have quote unquote faked their death. Tupac and Elvis. And we ain't seen either one of them.
Yeah. Ain't seen it. Nothing.
I'm not, but I just don't think so. I just don't. And why? What's he waiting for?
Yeah. I mean,
I just want to know, why did the guy waste his deathbed scene?
Yeah. So but when you think about that, Mark, it makes you think, well, maybe he's telling the truth.
I just wonder.
Tony, you're on your deathbed. Aren't you going to say something wild? Just something crazy.
There
are no repercussions.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but I mean, I don't believe Tupac's alive. I mean, I saw the picture. It's like,
I guess the why is the question. Why would he fake his death when he could make all this money? He'd be a hero. Movie roles are waiting for him.
Well, maybe he didn't want to do that anymore. Maybe he just wanted to live a life in anonymity and just be. He wanted to be. What was his birth name? Lashane Crooks. That's the name. His government tag. What's up?
Poetic Justice 3 was on the way. I mean,
a dying man.
Yeah.
On his deathbed.
Yeah.
As a man who died 17 years ago is still alive. He should have done what Tupac did. He faked his own death.
Yeah. Speaking of poetic justice, I read where Janet Jackson, back when the movie was being made, she made Tupac take an HIV test before she would do a kissing scene with him.
Wow.
And talk about profiling, damn. The Jacksons were racial profiling before the cops.
Well, I don't know.
And I understand she made Joe Torre take his brush had to take an HIV test. I know he's got waves, but no, I don't believe the waves.
And he was brushing his head. He probably opened up a wound.
Man. I've been reading some reviews on Janet Jackson's concerts, and it's been pointed out that she doesn't. There were costume changes and the sexy thing, and apparently she cut all that out.
Is she covered? I thought I saw her covered. Is that because now she's a Muslim?
Is she a Muslim now? I mean, I know she. I
heard she was a Muslim.
Okay, well,
is she covered?
But I mean, with that, and I know nothing about the religion. With that religion, would that prohibit her from even performing that music?
Well, let me ask you this: have you seen her ankles?
No.
Well,
no.
If her ankles are on blast, then.
But I mean, is it the religion thing, or is it because she's almost 50 now and she's like, I don't need to do that? I mean, I don't know what her reason is,
maybe it's out of risk. Maybe it's a compromise for her husband.
Maybe,
but
he had to know who he was marrying, though. She's a sex symbol, and she's still got it. She's still she's
like
stunning.
Troy said, he might have gotten married, and he told her on the wedding night, "You're going to learn today."
She's got it, Tony. You're right. She's got it, but it's under a burqa. At least for my eyes.
Man, I don't know, man.
For my eyes only.
I don't know, man. So what do you guys got, man?
You hear about the pan?
What is a pan?
Pan is the world's oldest panda. And Pan, who's fathered over 30 cubs, is still alive, man. But what I want to know is like Pan's home life. You know, is his wife mad at him? You know, what's your old self? All these babies all over the world, Pan. And you know, Pan don't care. He's all fat. He don't care. He got all these kids all over the world. They want his babies. Every zoo wants a Pan child. If you don't like her, you can leave.
No. Oh man.
This is his nickname.
Yeah.
His real name is Pan.
Mark, you've drifted over, man. Move over to your left, man, just a little bit, so I get that full shot of you, man, because people enjoy your handsomeness. So
you got Hillary looking shaky.
Yeah, I don't know. Is Bernie Sanders for real? Is that a thing? Is that
he is for me?
I think so.
I mean, because it was just kind of assumed that Hillary had it locked up, and it don't seem like it's going that way. And so maybe that's where Joe Biden is thinking, well, she ain't got it nailed down. Let me just get in this and make this happen. Then you got Bernie Sanders, who's building momentum, right, Troy?
Yeah, he is. Well, look, I thought this was interesting, and I could be wrong, but isn't it not the vice president that is going to be the assumed nominee?
Well, if he wants it, though, he's got to want to do it.
Right, but exactly. But I don't remember outside of Lyndon Johnson saying, "Okay, yeah, I'm done. I'm not going to run for a second term." If there's a vice president that's alive, isn't that the presumptive nominee? Why is there even a? Again, I'm lost a little bit.
Well, I'm with you on that. I kind of thought that too, but I think his son Bo passing away, I think it changed everything for Joe Biden. I think maybe he just doesn't have it in him anymore.
I'm taking it back to a year ago when people said, "Oh, Hillary's going to run," and Joe hadn't said anything.
Yeah,
I mean, it seemed interesting that you would discount a vice president.
Yeah.
And,
I don't think
there have even been a primary. I'm not sure.
I don't think he was interested in running, to be honest.
Okay.
And then I think he lost his son, and maybe Bo said something to him. Maybe it's one of those kind of moments where his son, told him, "Hey, because I think he's an old dog, man. He's been in the game a long time."
That's another thing too. Yeah.
And I think you're right, Troy. I think if he had plans of running, we would have known. It would have led with that. Right. Okay, I'm going to run for president. But it seems like he's back ending.
I think Hillary. I mean, there's no question that Hillary is an accomplished woman. But I think why you see a Bernie Sanders in the mix, why you see a Joe Biden in the mix, is because of the way that she's handled certain things.
Yeah,
she didn't do a good job of explaining the email situation. Whether it's benign or whether it's a real issue, you can't you can't joke about, "Oh yeah, did I wipe my hard drive with what, a rag?"
Yeah.
Why she say rag?
Yeah. I mean, she seems to be building a lot of baggage.
Yeah, it just, and people are like, "Oh, wait a minute." Look, the story, if there's a story there, it's not going away, and people are actually paying attention to it. So, not to mention the fact that this is the primary. So, the real issues, we haven't even gotten to Benghazi. You haven't heard about that yet. Wait till that comes out. I mean, whether her opponents take her on about it, or the Republican, whoever is going to be, in the general election is going to hammer her on it. So she's got a lot of stuff to work out. It seems like.
What's funny to me about the Republican debate so far, two things that stood out to me. Number one, when one of the candidates asked them, who believes the world's going to be better for their children than it was for you, and like nobody raised their hand. I was like, you know what? I always believed that the world's going to be better for my kids than it is for me. I've I've never believed that, like people will focus on the environment and the world, and I'm not even worried about. I don't think I'm going to have kids because I want to bring them into this. I've never had that perspective, so I was curious. I wonder how many really you feel that. I don't feel that. And it's going to be the way they characterized what Obama has done to the country. Like after Bush, we thought it was a wrap. It was like there were no jobs, right. There were no, for kids who graduated from college, everybody was broke. Like, yo, man. And so that's why he got elected a second term, because he kind of pulled America's ass out of the fire. And then now you characterize it as this mess that he built, which is hilarious. And that just seems so political. It just seems, which it is, because again, the stupid people buy it. They go, that's right. Wait a minute now. Do you remember 2008? Do you remember what the world looked like after Bush?
I think it's interesting. A couple of things in that debate that I found interesting. One was Carly Fiorina. Obviously, she did very well. She was on point with her conversation about real serious issues, even foreign policy. But you didn't hear that from Donald Trump. He kept talking in the same mannerisms. Right. He had great jokes, but it was more entertaining than substantive. Yeah. And then Jeff Sessions was interesting too, who is doing nothing in the poll numbers, but he said the things that you haven't heard Republicans say. He said there are things I actually agree with Hillary on. Surprise! Yeah. Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill worked together as Republicans and Democrats. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, Republicans don't want to hear that kind of nonsense.
No.
But it was something that actually needs to happen. The gridlock that we've seen over the last 8 years, at some point it's got to break up, and somebody's going to have to be bold enough to say that we've actually got to work together. And I just thought, I thought he said some interesting things, even though he's got 0.01. He had nothing to lose, but he made some interesting points.
I'll tell you the few things I learned from the debate. Number one, Mike Huckabee, you are too portly to be president. Understand. I'm not saying you can't be. Huh?
Wait, versus Chris Christie?
I was going to say, I'm not saying you can't be portly and be president, because Christie could be president.
Right.
You can't be. It's almost like Chris Christie daddy checked Farina and Donald Trump. Hey, don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. And then, hey, you guys, great. You guys are both wonderful. But let's talk about some real issues here. Christie showed that, a fat guy could be president, because that's very presidential. Huckabee, here's where he went wrong. He gained the weight back. Mm-hmm. He Mark Clark'd it. Came down, was looking sharp last time. Then you gained it back. Now you're a fat dude. We don't know who you are. You can't even resist ribs. You cannot be president. We also learned Bobby Jindal. Hey, man. You represent Louisiana. Shut up. Last in education. The only thing y'all first in is biscuits, Popeyes, red beans and rice, and partying. But you talk about education. Are you kidding me? And you're an Indian guy? Oh, no. Who else we got? Trump. Yeah, Trump looked weak in that second election because, like you said, Troy, you're a great MC, but you can't be president. Scott Walker, see ya. Peace.
Yeah. Well, he dropped out yesterday.
But wait, I love the way he dropped out. He said, I want to make room for somebody who can really be a challenger. What? kind of statement is that?
Well, Rick Perry dropped out a couple weeks ago. When he dropped out, his numbers went up. What the hell is that?
You're doing what the American people want.
Yeah.
Rick Perry went back to LensCraft and was like, these glasses did not work.
I don't know, man.
This is the motley crew. Even on the Democratic side, this is the most motley crew presidential race we've ever seen. There's some people, if you can't get a prom date, you should not be the president of the United States.
Man. that's a rule. That's now a rule. So yes.
Tony, there's somebody for everybody.
Yeah. Well,
I love Bernie Sanders though. Black Lives Matter.
Would somebody get them off the stage, please?
We'll have to wait and see, man. Is anybody else on the Democratic side gonna declare though? I mean, outside of Joe Biden, whether he does or not.
Bryant's running for president.
Is Jamal Bryant gonna run? I mean, because
on the big tie platform.
He's running for Congress. Jamal Bryant is trying to make a run at Elijah Cummings' seat.
Oh, good luck with that, man.
Yeah.
So there's a
Gonna need it.
I would like to, when President Obama ran the first time, when he won his first election as president, and a lot of people admitted that they voted for him because he was black, which is your prerogative to do if that's what you want to do. Are people going to vote for Ben Carson because he's black?
No.
I don't think so.
Hell no.
well, why not?
See, I think this the part about Obama that question. Here's the problem. Obama is one of the smartest presidents we've ever had. He's probably one of the most charismatic presidents we've ever had. He's probably one of the most diplomatic. There's a whole bunch that goes into Obama. His package, from his family to what he represents to his life. It's more than him just being black. Because I mean, shit,
but a lot of people, that's the only reason why they voted for him, though.
Yeah, but I think even when they say that, like I would say that I'm voting for him because the president. I would say this. I voted for. I could have said I voted for him because he represents what I want my president to be. Mm-hmm. And what is that? As far as he represents my children can relate to him, I can relate to him, and because I can relate to him, and he happens to be black, I voted for him. But so it's more than just because he's black. Because Herman Cain was black. Keyes is black. There's a whole bunch of people who are black who never
but they never made it to the final. To the final, it's the final two.
Black. I think black people definitely, no matter what they even say, history will show you. Mainly because only one black president, that's not been the case. They vote for people that they feel like they can relate to, like a Bill Clinton, who they said the first black president, blah, 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 blah. And I think that, just because he's black, I think that's a good conversation, but it's not really real, I don't think.
Well, even more than that, imagine that. People voting for somebody who looks like them.
Right.
Yeah,
that's never happened in this country.
No.
White people, yeah, right. People vote because he didn't vote for him because he's black.
Right.
There are 44 presidents of the United States, and you're telling me that people in America didn't vote for the other 43 because they were white? I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
It's interesting that black people have had to qualify their vote.
Yes.
Right. In these last two elections.
Yes.
And the other elections, obviously, hello,
Well, and then look at, and
I
then
don't even have to finish the sentence because you know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
That's true. Look at Ben Carson. I think one of the reasons that they ain't gonna vote for him because he's black, because here you are, an African American man who says that basically he wouldn't feel comfortable putting a Muslim in office. And your ass is a Seventh-day Adventist. What are you talking about? We don't even know what a Seventh-day Adventist, like the average person clumps Seventh-day Adventists with Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Mystery. We don't know what the hell you're talking about.
But it goes back to Ben Carson. It goes back to him, like I said at the beginning. He's playing up to
the party.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
He's trying to get those votes.
Yes.
So, I doubt if he actually believes that. But he said it because that's what he has to say. And I think he almost has to be more extreme because he is a black Republican.
But I think, like you said,
he doubled down on the Muslim comment, though. He said, yes, I know what I said. Yes, I meant it. So, I mean, there's going to be hell to pay for that at some point. There's a fine line between, in the primaries, you are playing up to the base. But and you may say some things that are going to be red meat for Democrats if we're talking about Republicans right now. But you can't, if I were putting on a a campaign secretary's viewpoint, you can't go so far out there that you can't come back to the center when it's time for a general election.
Right.
You know, people are going to remember that. If he manages to stick around, if the support suddenly doesn't just dry up and go away because you said something completely outrageous that there's no way you can get out of that.
Yeah.
In the next debate, everybody on that stage needs to be taking him to task on that comment.
But they all believe it, though. They just haven't said it.
But the question's going to come up, and it's going to put if you're going to align yourself with what he said, is that more problematic, or is it going to work for you?
Especially when they do the TV1 debates, and Roland Martin will get a chance to get at him.
I was just going to bring up the fact that as we wrap up here is big ups to Troy Johnson, who actually has filled in for Roland Martin.
Go ahead, Troy.
Yes. When you sent that text out, I sat up in bed, man. I turned the TV on. I was like, look at him on TV filling in for Roland Martin.
And
you
did
great,
man.
In
for him, he did a hell of a job.
He did do a hell of a job. You did great, man.
I appreciate it.
You did really good.
And my air check tape also appreciate it.
Your demo, man.
I'm trying to get a job off of that.
Well, you know what, man? Yeah. You know, I didn't hear a reference to Men on Scandal or Men on Everything but it's all good though, man, because you represented.
I intended to on the second time around.
Okay.
Huh?
Hello.
Hello. It's one shot deal.
You know what? Also, Tony, I think you can't be considered a sellout and get the love of, I think, the community. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happens politically. Like if you consider a quote unquote sellout, then it doesn't apply. I'm going to just vote for him because he's a black guy. You know what I mean? I think you can't take the cheese and expect to get. He knows what he's doing. He took cheese, so he goes into the same box. I think sadly as all the others. Herman. Yeah. Whatever happened to Herman Cain? Did he get back with Godfather's Pizza? Is he bringing back the thick crust pizza? What's going?
I don't know.
Back on the radio doing his show.
He's doing his radio?
On a syndicated show, yeah.
Okay. Well,
the land of former conservative black folks. It's just like a little city they moved to, and they just go live over there, and
what happened to J.C. Watts?
He's like most. Well, I shouldn't say it like that, but a lot of post politicians end up being lobbyists, and I think he's probably in the lobby.
That's right.
He went where the money is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. So, well, that's our Men on Everything. Appreciate you checking it out. If you can give it a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel would be great too. Sharing it would be awesome of you to do. That'd be great. We'll be back later in the week with Men on Empire and Men on Scandal. What happened?
Men on Empire and Men on Scandal?
We're gonna try.
Wow.
Isn't that what we decided at the end of last season?
No, I'm just saying wow.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
No, I'm not complaining, Tony.
Okay, got you. I got you.
I was really trying to set it up so I could do my Lucius Lyons voice.
So for Mark Clark in New York and Troy Johnson in Washington, D.C., I'm Tony Scott in Dallas. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again later this week.